A very good day to everybody. In this series of lectures, 10 lectures, we are going to talk about the Jaina Darshan, Jaina philosophy. Now, everybody must have definitely heard the term Jain, Jainism, Shramana tradition. So, in this first lecture, we are going to understand the basics, introductory points of Jainism. How did it evolve? What are its basic tenets? Who were its originators or founders or propounders? Then how did it spread in India, throughout the globe? What are its places of pilgrimages? What is the concept of cycle of time? Tirthankaras. In the 10 series of lectures, we are going to study all of this. Now, let me first give you a brief background of the socio-economic, cultural, political scenario of 2600 years ago. Definitely all the three ancient Indian traditions, Jainism, Buddhism and Vedic Brahmanical, or which is today known as Hinduism, do not have the concept of creator God the way it is believed in the Semitic tradition, that is Judaism, Christianity and Islam. Of course, in Hinduism we have a different way where we believe Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh. Now, 2600 years ago, when Mahavira, the 24th Tirthankara, was born, who was a contemporary of Gautama, the Buddha. These omniscient beings, and of course there were many others who lived, attained realization, propagated, reached in the parts of India which we call today, of course, those are the parts of Bengal, Bihar, Orissa, at that time known as the Magadh or Lichvis or the Videhas, the Kshatriya Kundas, Kapilavastu. Those were the areas which they roamed and which they propagated. Now, before that also, there were traditions. It is not that we have only Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, but there were other schools of thought also. In all, what references we have, we get in total 363 schools of thought which did not believe in the Vedic authority. But did not believe in the Vedic authority does not mean they are antagonistic, they are opposed. No, but they had a different way to think, a different world view, a different way to live life, different kinds of rituals. Now, the reason I am telling you this is because as the imagination of the people changes, experience, we have different kinds of experiences, the questions change, and as the question changes, the way to look at the world, the way we experience, the way we articulate and the way we understand, those also changes. Look at the contemporary times. Like last year, before 15th March 2020, we never knew next day our life will change. We will be in a complete lockdown. Now imagine we are enclosed. We find confined to our houses or wherever we were told you stay wherever you are. Now imagine, never ever in the life we must, or our previous generations, our parents or grandparents must have faced this kind of situation where we are confined to our houses. So now what kinds of question emerged? Like we are in our home, in most of them with our family members. Now imagine our life before 15th March 2020 and after 15th March, most probably 2020, things became completely opposite. Relationships change, the way to work change, the way to education change. Now imagine it is revolutionized. Similarly, 2600 years ago, at that time, not only in India but all over the world, Chinese or Japanese or Egyptians or whichever part you take, people were nature worshippers. There was a relation world or a cosmos which was looked as like a nature. Meaning what? We are grateful to nature, we have environment, and we have a duty. And when this environment is, how it is this environment stable? In Vedic religion, we have the concept of Ruta and Runa. That Ruta is generally what we understand. Ruta is a cosmic order, moral order. And how does it remain stable? When we human beings live our life in stability. How do we live in stability? Whatever stages of life you are, okay, one thing. Second, whatever profession skills you are, you follow that. That is your duty. And of course, we all know we have the ashram parampara and the varna parampara. Varna, it is not caste. You are accepting or choosing a profession on the basis of your skill. Even if you may be a Brahmin, by Brahmin means somebody who learns, who retains, and who is willing to impart education, or I would say wisdom, and who guides society on a moral order. That is a Brahmin. It is not a caste, it is a Varna, like Kshatriya, who is ready to defend and who gives justice. That is Kshatriya. Vaishyas, who do business, trade, commerce, who deal with materialistic things. And the lower class, whom we call Shudras, it's not like outcast, but those who are skilled laborers, craftsmen, artisans, skilled labor. So it is not a vertical society, it is a horizontal society where all are equal, all are interdependent on each other. And so this is the ashrama parampara, and we have this is the varna parampara, and now we have the ashram parampara, meaning the stages of the householder. What are they? Householder, and then you transform to a muni or ascetic if you want to live a solitary life. So you have the brahmacharya ashram, that is a student life. Then you have the brahmacharya, then you have grahastha, vanaprastha, and sannyasa. So in grahastha life, of course, you are a householder, but before that, there is a preparatory stage, that is a brahmacharya ashram, where after the age of 8 or at the age of 8, there is an inclination where the child decides what kind of skill the child wants to take ahead, meaning from the ability and the skills of the child, one comes to know what the child wants. Therefore, those polishing is done. It is mentoring. Of course, apart from the daily vyavhar or the daily things what are taught. So you are responsible to your own self. In brahmacharya ashram, it is your duty, you study for 16 years of life. Then, of course, you get married. You owe that life to your parents. You are married, you perform the rituals, and you continue the race. Okay, so marriage was mandatory in the Vedic parampara, because only the parents, eldest son, can give the antyeshti and perform the last rites of the Shraddha ceremony. Okay, so these are your duties. So you relieve them and you relieve yourself from the duty. Then third is the vanaprastha. Once your children are married, you become a semi-retired. You don't interfere in the decision making, but you are only mentoring. Become a guiding person, guiding spirit to your children. You take care of your grandchildren. So the decision rests on your children who are married, not on you. And the fourth, if you want to live a completely solitary life, you renounce and you go into the forest or meditation or whatever. So generally this was a setup, a comfortable setup. And if this setup is at whatever stage of life you are, you perform that duty, the whole order of the cosmos is sustained. You perform your sacrifices, your rituals, yagyas. So a grahastha is responsible to perform. A grahastha has to bear children, continue the race. Okay, so that duty, so you overcome, now integrated it in a concept of runa. What is this runa? That there are three kinds of runas. Okay, matru pitru runa, rishi runa, and deva runa. What is matru pitru runa? Matru pitru runa is just now what I told you, that the parents are redeemed, or children are redeemed from their parents by performing the last rites and continuation of the race. Marriage and continuation of the race. That is overcoming the matru pitru runa. Your relationships are become with your parents from the time you are conceived till the time they die. So you overcome the runa. Second, rishi runa, your guru dakshina, whatever you give to the rishi or a teacher who teaches, imparts you wisdom, who prepares you for the stages of life so you take a right decision. And the third is the Deva Runa. Now, in the Vedic Parampara, we know there were few gods and goddesses who were worshipped. So, you have Agni, the main, Rudra, you have Varuna, then you have Usha, then we have Indra. The few gods and goddesses who were worshipped. Now, Agni being the main, why Yajnas? Because it is believed that whatever rituals you do in the Yajnas, Agni carries those power to the devatas, and devatas bless you. So you are basically asking for health, wealth, material prosperity. Prosperous life is already, everybody desires a prosperous life. You remain stable and everything is fine. So overcoming these three runas, or you overcome these three runas, that is the mukti. Ashram parampara, Varna parampara, overcoming the three runas. Okay, this is how the Vedic parampara worked over a period of time. What happened? Okay, there were changes. Now, what were the changes? These are records also, that there were mix and match. Caste became important, jati becomes important, not varna. So, Brahman ka ladka Brahman, Kshatriya ka Kshatriya, Vaishya ka Vaishya, Shudra ka Shudra. We have females who were well read, who were arguing, but over a period of time, the question changed. And therefore, 2600 years ago or 3000 years ago, rituals take more and more prominence. And on this background, what we see is the Shramana paramparas gaining foothold. There were such kind of traditions prior to Mahavira and Buddha, but Shramana parampara gains footholds. Now, when I say foothold, meaning Mahavira and Buddha approximately born in approximately 600 BC, that's 2600 years ago. What is that what they try to, what is that what they experienced, and they try to propagate. So, and why Shramana? The meaning of Shramana means Shrama, self-effort, and Shramana means ascetic. Okay, it's a part of self-effort. Now, so therefore, coming to Jainism, what does it say? So, Mahavira, born in Kshatriya Kunda, okay, and born in a family, or you can say a republic. The political scenario was, he was born in a Gnatriya clan. That means he was a Kshatriya, and Jainism believes that all the 24 Tirthankaras, the Tirthankaras who are born, are always born in a Kshatriya family. So, born in a Kshatriya family, he, right from his young age, he had a different kind of inclination. But nevertheless, when we do the topic of Tirthankaras, we discuss a little bit about life history of 2 or 3 Tirthankaras. But for the time being, let us understand that he went on the path of self-effort. Meaning, of course, some tradition in Jainism believes that he was married, had a daughter. One tradition does not believe. But nevertheless, had parents, had older brother. One tradition says he had a sister also. but inclination was a different kind, was interested in knowing the reality of life. Okay, not uh, interested in the material well-beings or material prosperity. Not that you don't want it, but that did not, you can say, that did not attract him, neither him nor Buddha. It was not, he was not attracted by this. Therefore he took the path of renunciation to find out what is the ultimate truth is. Now went on the path, meditated, took diksha, self-initiation, removed the hair. You know, in Jainism there is this peculiar tradition, you remove the hair which is called locha with your hand. You may feel it is like a hardship, but it is not a hardship. Removing a hair is giving up your beauty, and secondly, when you pluck out your hair, your whatever energy blockages are there, they are removed. You know, you feel relieved. At that time, you may feel the pinch or the pain, but the maturity of the pain is you released your energy, your chakras are open. Now, so he went on the path of renunciation. At the age of 30, 12 and a half years meditated. He roamed in the areas of Rajgir and those areas of eastern part of India. There is, Rajgir, you know Lachwad, Kshatriya Kund, basically Bihar, Bhagalpur, those areas, in those areas he roamed. Finally, at the age of 42, he attained what you say is Sarvagnata or Keval Gnan. That you call it Nirvana. Means what? Your soul is completely free of all the malignity or all of the karmas which were covering it. Now means what? Jainism says every soul is divine. Every soul has infinite power. How infinite power? Meaning infinite knowledge, infinite intuition, infinite bliss, infinite energy. Every soul, every living being has these four. So your soul is potential, but in the human birth we are limited. When you are liberated, you become infinite. So the Tirthankara and Mahavira, okay, known as Vardhamana, then he was known as Mahavira. So he attained this omniscience. The covering of the souls were all gone, and he attains this. Okay, it is there within you. You have to only actualize your potential, and then it becomes an actuality. And then for the next almost 30 years, he preached this path. He preached this path.